Good evening and welcome to this week's meeting of the Norton Board of Selectmen. Today is Thursday, April 18th, 2019. Let the record show the 4 members are present. Mr. Flaherty, I believe, is on his way, and Mr. Mike Eunice is here also. Pledge of allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know it, huh? I know it. Okay, first on the agenda, we have the vote to amend a one-day beer and wine liquor license to Jennifer Howard for a private party at the Everett Leonard Park by changing the event date from June 29th, 2019 to June 30th, 2019, from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. I guess it was an error where it was double booked, so they had to change it, so it's just a basic formality. Anyone have any questions? Seeing none, the chair would entertain a motion to amend the one-day beer and wine liquor license to Jennifer Howard for a private event at the Everett Leonard Park on June 30th, 2019, from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Let's do a roll call. Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Salvo?
Yes.
Mr. Bramwell?
Yes.
And I do vote yes. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Next, we have the annual application of Edward J. Brault for the Memorial Day Parade to be held on Monday, May 27, 2019. The start-off time at 10 a.m. and approximately 11:30 a.m. for completion. The standard packet in your packet. Anyone have any questions?
No.
It looks like it's a standardized form. Everything's in order.
The only difference is this year they're stopping at the Common again.
Yep. It should be ready by then. Can only hope. Okay. Chair, entertain a motion to approve the application of Edward J. Brault for the Memorial Day Parade to be held on Monday, May 27, 2019, from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, next we have the transfer of a common vicular license from, I'm going to try this, Carasaurus, DBA Main Street Pizzeria to FADL Incorporated DBA Main Street Pizzeria. Anyone here tonight? Pizzeria?
See anybody?
Do they have to be present? No. All right, well, anyone have any questions? It's a standard transfer of the common vic. The liquor license, we probably have a different
Yeah.
situation. The order, the applications is in your packet. Everything seems to be in order. So, you entertain a motion to, I never know if I said this name right, transfer the common vicular license from Carasaurus, DBA Main Street Pizzeria to FADL Incorporated DBA Main Street Pizzeria.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, under announcements, we have recognition of National Public Safety Telecommunication Week 2019.
Proclamations.
Is it here? You don't have it?
I was looking right now.
Is it this? Guess we better sign it too, huh, while we're at it.
I'll read it first.
Yep.
Ready?
Yeah.
We have a proclamation, 2019 National Public Safety Telecommunication Week, April 14th through April 20th, 2019. Whereas the Board of Selectmen proclaims this week of April 14th to the 20th of 2019 National Public Safety Telecommunication Week, and whereas this day serves to pay tribute to the public safety telecommunicators who answer 911 calls and dispatch police, fire, and ambulance responders, serving as a link between the caller and the emergency provider who may apprehend a criminal, saved their passion from a fire, possessions for a fire, and saved their lives, the love of a loved one. Whereas safety of police and firefighters depend on quality, accuracy of information obtained by the telecommunicator and the dispatcher's activities providing radio, telephone, and computer service. Now therefore, be it resolved that we, the Board of Selectmen, do hereby proclaim April 14th through April 20th, 2019, as the 2019 National Public Safety Telecommunicator Week in the town of Norton. Signed by the Board of Selectmen.
Anything else, Mike, on that?
Just like to thank them for the work they do.
Yeah.
It's not always an easy job when you're dealing with people that, need assistance, and they do a very professional job in issuing emergency medical advice and coordinating activities of the police and fire. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a very, very important job. It's a silent position that really is very, very important to our public safety departments. I mean, they do a lot of work behind the scenes that, they probably don't get recognized for, and I think it's great that they have a proclamation for them. Okay, next on the agenda, we have the appointment of a part-time secretary in the assessor's office. Actually, under announcements, you got anything else? Yeah. What you got?
Which one?
Do you have anything?
Have any?
Oh, no, I don't have anything else, I'm sorry. Not at the moment.
Mr. Guillermo, have anything?
I have nothing.
Mr. Steele? Okay. Before I forget. Okay, under appointments, the appointment of a part-time secretary in the assessor's office. Mr. Unit?
Yeah, we interviewed, this is a vacant position in the assessor's office, and we had a number of resumes and interviewed 5 people. And the best candidate for the position is Kelly Malone. Kelly has experience working in real estate and also office administration. So the assessors are comfortable with Kelly and feel that she will fill in that part-time, 18-hour-a-week position.
Anyone have any questions? Mr. Salvo, you want to read the?
Sure, thank you. To the Board of Selectmen, from Michael D. Unit, Town Manager, dated April 8, 2019. Regarding a notice of appointment of part-time secretary, I hereby notify the Board of Selectmen in accordance with the provisions of Article 4, Section 2B of the Norton Charter that acting in my capacity as appointed authority, I have appointed the following individual as a part-time secretary in the Assessor's Office, Kelly Malone. This appointment was made on April 8, 2019, in accordance with the provisions of the Norton Charter, and will be effective April 23, 2019, unless the Board of Selectmen votes to accept or reject this appointment prior to said date. However, I respectfully request this Board to acceptance of this appointment with the effective date of April 22, 2019.
Okay. Anyone have any more questions? Is Ms. Malone here?
No.
In the future, we would like to have, the applicant please come so we can at least put a face to a name and we know what we're talking about, so.
Mr.
Okay.
Chair,
Anyone? Mrs. Steele?
So can we just have her into one of our next meetings so we can meet her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? Chair, entertain a motion to appoint part-time secretary Kelly Malone to the Department. Assessor's Office.
Second.
A motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you. We have an appointment of Equipment Operator 2. What's that about?
Keith's here. This is a vacant position that Keith has in the department. And Keith will introduce Kevin Gary to you.
How you doing?
Keith?
How you doing? This is Kevin Gary. He'll be taking the place of one of our men that went on to another job. He'll be operating trucks, equipment, working for the cemetery department, whatever we need him for, trees, so I think he's gonna be a good fit.
Pretty much anything that has to be done,
Yeah.
he'll be doing it, huh? Evening, Kevin. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. So tell us a bit about yourself.
I grew up in Easton my whole life. I went to school for 2 years, and it just didn't seem like I was on the path to what I wanted to do. So,
2 years of college.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that.
and so I need a job while I'm doing night school, and this seems like a good path for
Oh,
me.
good.
So,
What are you going to school for?
business,
Oh, good.
and then I'm not sure about a minor yet.
Yeah, well, you can help the boss with his business stuff.
Yeah.
We need it.
Yeah, I think you'll find that the highway department, unlike most departments in any form of government, pretty much they do everything, so.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Very important position, so. Do we have any questions? Normally, we have the person's name on here. Your name was equipment operator number 2, so I don't know why the agenda didn't have your name on it, but Mr. Salvo, you want to read the
Sure.
notice?
To the Board of Selectmen from Michael D. Units, Town Manager, dated April 10th, 2019. Regarding notice of appointment of Equipment Operator 2, I hereby notify the Board of Selectmen that in accordance with the provisions of Article 4, Section 2B of the Norton Charter, acting in my capacity as the appointing authority, I have appointed the following individual as Equipment Operator 2, Kevin John Gary. Said appointment was made on April 10th, 2019, in accordance with provisions of Norton Charter, and will be effective on April 25th, 2019, unless the Board of Selectmen votes to accept or reject this appointment prior to said date.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Steele, have a question?
After this.
Again, the position is backfilling a position that,
It's filling the position.
okay. All right, money's already in the budget, everything's covered. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, any other discussion? Chair entertain a motion to appoint Kevin John Gary to the position of Equipment Operator number 2.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
I had a question for Keith. Sorry, while you're mentioning trees. If somebody has a dead tree on the property line, kind of close to the road, is it you guys or National Grid that would take it down?
If it's near the wires,
Yeah,
it's National Grid.
National Grid,
Is it
okay.
near your property?
it's, you know where Owen Gagan lives? Right before the end of Pine Street on
Number
the
11.
left, the white, number 11 Pine?
11
Yeah.
Pine.
He's got a
11
dead
Pine.
pine that is,
If it's on the wires, I'll just call National Grid and they'll come down and take it down.
oh, they will? No, it's not on the wires yet. It's going to be.
No, but it's near the wire.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So they'll
So
do-
should I just send you an email with the address?
Yeah, send me an email.
Or I'll text you, that's easier.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
perfect, thanks.
It is 11 Pine.
Is it 11 Lane?
Okay. Okay, next on the agenda, we have the introduction of Anthony Kolodachek to the Industrial Development Commission. Anthony, evening.
Alrighty.
You already made the appointment, we just wanted to make sure we knew who you were.
Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. My name is Anthony Kolodachek. Currently, I'm a rising senior at Bryant University studying entrepreneurship and legal studies within development and economic strategy, as well as overall industry development. I just wanted to thank you guys once again for appointing me for this position. I'm extremely excited and extremely confident in my abilities to bring new ideas to the table. Right now, I'm also in the reserves. I commission as a second lieutenant officer in the Army next year. So with my experience, I hope that I can work with everybody and make a positive, impactful change. If anybody has any questions, I would love to answer them.
No, I just think it's wonderful. We're always excited when the younger folks, step forward and try to help us.
Absolutely.
Old geezers get the job done, so.
Absolutely.
It's great to see young people step forward and try to serve their community. And your background will definitely be a big plus for us.
I think it's important to bring up different people who can represent different types of people, from the younger generation, older generation,
Yeah.
middle generation. I think it's extremely important for everybody to be collaborative and working together, so I appreciate it.
Very nice.
Thank you very
Any
much.
questions? Did you do ROTC in college, or did you?
Yes.
You did. Oh, good for you.
Yeah, one more year.
One more year?
Absolutely.
And then do you have to serve a period of time?
Yep. So I have a 8-year reserves scholarship to fulfill afterwards. Yes.
Yeah, I have a young friend of the family who graduated from Quinnipiac
Okay. Yes.
and came out as a second lieutenant, and he just became a colonel.
Oh wow.
He's been in there 20 years.
Wow. That's a long
Worked in the
time.
Pentagon. He's done some
Absolutely.
really neat stuff.
Absolutely.
He's also a school teacher.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for him.
In the civilian
That's
life.
some dedication.
Great guy. Yeah, Jeff Odette was down in, near Winnicott. Any questions? Well, thank you again. I'm
Yes,
glad.
thank you
glad
very much.
came
I
in
appreciate it.
To see who you are.
Have a great night.
Good luck.
coming in.
We're here to help if you need anything, too, you know that.
Is there a meeting scheduled
Next Thursday.
next Thursday? There's a
Thursday?
IDC meeting, here, 7 o'clock, 6? I'll email you.
What is it,
Have you been sworn in?
6:30?
Haven't been sworn in yet.
Clerk's office, all the way down the end. They can help you out with that.
Fantastic, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have a request of Laura Parker for the appointment of Industrial Development Commission. We received an email from her. She was here at our last meeting and said, thank you for your interest in being appointed to the IDC. I asked her to, is she here? Oh, Laura, are you here? I am here, yeah. Oh, come on up. I didn't know you were sitting back there. You were being so quiet, I didn't realize. No, you didn't have to, but, you know, what the heck.
Thank you for having me.
So, again, this is an alternate position.
Yes.
And obviously, we're very pleased that we want to get this committee going, and again, and this is a great opportunity to make that all happen.
It's
So,
an important one.
yeah, very much so, very much. Anyone have any questions?
I think we grilled her last time.
Yeah, I think we did, too. We forgot the hot lights, though. That was the only problem, but.
And it was very unexpected for you last time, so.
Yes, just a little.
You did very well under pressure.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And again, to remind you that if a position does come up for the full-time, just to send us a note, and we'll make sure you don't
I'll
have to
raise
come
my
back.
hand. Okay.
Just make sure we make the appointment.
I'll raise my hand.
Okay, great. Okay, should I entertain a motion to appoint Laura Parker as an alternate to the Industrial Development Commission?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
You're approved. Thank you.
Thank you all very much for your time.
Thanks
Appreciate
so
it.
much. Make sure you see the town clerk.
I will.
Thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda, we have an appointment for full-time payroll clerk. Mr. Units?
If Kathy and Courtney can come up, you probably met Courtney before, because this will be
No.
Courtney.
I actually have never
No,
been
we
here.
never invited her.
in my,
This will be Courtney's third job since she started.
yeah, in the last
there
2.5 years.
December of 16.
Yeah.
So what was your first job?
Planning, zoning, part-time. And then last November, I moved full-time to the treasurer collector office.
And now we're looking at,
And she's been doing a fantastic job, so when this job came up, where the payroll person went and got another job somewhere else, I thought it might be a perfect time to move Courtney into this position.
I do plan on being here for a while, so I think it would be a good transition to stay with maybe one area at this point.
And we're a friendly office,
I'd say so.
yeah.
Well,
She's
she-
been great on the
she
front
does-
desk,
She
so.
does a great job.
Yeah,
does a great
I enjoy
I've
it.
been there, I've
I
seen-
meet a lot of great people.
Yeah, and I've
Yeah.
seen you working with I call them customers, but they're.
Yeah,
they're just-
resident, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you do a
And
great
now
job.
she'll do more with employees and
Yeah.
the retirees, so it'll be good for her.
It'll be a nice change. I'm
Good.
excited.
Anyone have any questions?
No.
I think it's a great move. Cross-training's always good too, right? I mean,
At least, yeah, I'll know the tax part of it as well as the payroll and
Right.
be able to help out.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, actually, Mr. Bramble, would you read that?
Okay. Notice of appointment of full-time payroll clerk. I hereby notify the Board of Selectmen, in accordance with the provisions of Article 4, Section 2B of the Norton Charter, that acting in my capacity as appointing authority, I have appointed the following individual as full-time payroll clerk in the tax collector treasurer's office. Courtney McClellan.
McClellan, yep.
The appointment was made on April 17th, 2019, in accordance with the provisions of the Norton Charter, and will be effective May 2nd, 2019, unless the Board of Selectmen votes to accept or reject the appointment prior to said date. I specifically request the Board's acceptance of this appointment with an effective date of April 22nd, 2019.
Okay, thank you. And by the way, she does a great job of selling lamps. Fenton Memorial. She's my #1 sales lady for that, so continue to do that for me, okay?
I
know
will.
you got a big job now, but if you
Yep.
can help us with that, that would be great. All right, great. Anyone have any questions?
No.
So then the chair will entertain a motion to appoint Courtney J. McClellan to the position of the tax collector's /treasurer's office as payroll clerk, full-time payroll clerk.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Present.
Okay, I make it three in favor and one present. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Keep those sales going, okay? Yes. All right, thanks. Under new business. Well, a couple minutes late.
Not bad.
We kind of missed it, didn't we? We found out, we have a hearing for Wheaton College common vicular wine and malt beverage license for change of location. And unfortunately, we did not properly notify the abutters. So
Wheaton didn't.
Wheaton didn't properly, whatever. Someone didn't notify the abutters, so I'm going to ask you to read it into the record, the notice of public hearing, Mr. Salvo, and then we're probably going to have to postpone it for 2 weeks.
Certainly. This was it was to the Admiral Sun Attention Legals dated March 28, 2019. Notice of a public hearing, Town of Norton. The Board of Selectmen of the Town of Norton will conduct a public hearing on an application of Wheaton College manager Joseph Scott O'Rourke for a change of location from Ellis Dance Studio in Chase Round to the Emerson Dining Hall in the public entertainment space in the President's House to its common vicular license for its common vicular wine and malt beverages licenses to expose, keep for sale, and sell wine and malt beverages to be drunk on the premises at 26 and 28 East Main Street, Norton, Mass. 02766. Said hearing will be held Thursday, April 18, 2019, at 7:15 p.m. in the Selectmen's Meeting Room, Norton Municipal Center, 70 East Main Street, Norton, Mass. 02766, in accordance with the Chapter 138 of the Massachusetts General Laws.
Okay, so where we did not have proper notification, we will entertain a motion to table the request until our meeting of Thursday, May 2nd, 2019, at 7:15 p.m.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Salvo?
Yes.
Mr. Bramwell?
Yes.
And I too will vote yes. So that hearing will be on May 2nd, 7:15 p.m. here at the Selectmen's Meeting Room. Okay. Next on the agenda is discussion regarding changing the law and printing town reports versus electronic online versions. I asked this to be put on the agenda at the FinCom meeting, Finance Committee meeting a couple of weeks ago. I realized that we're still spending $2,000 a year to print town reports. And I asked why we're doing that, and I guess it's because we are required to do so. That doesn't mean that we can't perhaps make adjustments where it's printed on which I believe it is already, right? It's already printed on our website. But I'm kind of thinking, rather than spend $2,000 for all these books we have out here in the hallway that nobody picks up, if somebody does want a copy of it, we could probably print out a copy of the version and give it to them. It's not going to be as fancy as the ones we've done in the past. I'm just throwing it on the table to see what everyone thinks about it, because I think it's important that, I mean, to me, it's costly, and to me, it would be a way to save some money. So, I mean, what's everyone think?
What does the law require? What's the law requires to do?
It's got to be printed.
It requires you to print an annual report.
If someone were to come in and say, I want a copy of the town report, we would have to print a copy of it.
Oh, okay. So it would have to be available for anybody who wanted it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we know how many copies get distributed?
Well, I know how many we print, 500, and I would say no more than 200 ever go out. But there's a minimum that when you have the.
No, the only reason, tying up a printer is going to be time consuming.
Yeah, I'll check on that and see how many, and
Costly.
I'll check with other town managers and see if any other town has done something different.
Yeah, it's just that, it makes sense not to print them to throw them away.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking of the time, and I know whatever kind of printer you're using, just the toner or whatever the printing fluid or ribbon or ink.
Well, Just so you know, if the selectmen neglect or refuse to make the annual report, they shall severely forfeit $50.
$50. I mean, we just made $1,950. I just think it's something we should look into. I mean, if you can see it electronically on, on your computer. You don't, I know that people don't. I guess I'd question, my first question was gonna be, do we have to print 500? But I guess we do, right?
Yeah,
There's no way of getting a better deal on
probably not.
200? Okay.
We'll check this year and see,
All
but
right, when we find out, and we can talk about this at a later
Okay.
date. I just thought, to me, it's $2,000 we spend every year, and they just collect dust. down in-
And I understand, it's just that I don't want to, I mean, the people in the town hall were short-staffed and they're double.
That's true.
They're
Yeah.
doing stuff, and to tie somebody up to, whether it's collating or whatever they have to do to
Yeah.
satisfy the public, is it cost-effective, or
Right.
are we going to make more work and
Yeah.
spend more money than?
I'll see if I can get an estimate on how many we give out. I'll just go and look at the boxes that are there left.
Yep. It's about time that we get the town report on the computer electronically.
Mhm. Some of us might fight you on that one, Peter, though. We like to have things in our hands so we can pick it up and look at it, so we'll have to figure out what's the best way to do it. Okay, next we have review and/or vote to approve a pilot agreement between the town of Norton and Next Grid Patriots LLC.
If you could wait until May 2nd, they want to come in and they want to do that and
Yeah,
the
we need
other
to
agreement
definitely have
on the solar and the availability for low-income residents.
Okay.
And that's the Plain Street solar project?
This is the one on Plain Street. The planning board approved that.
They did. And so they're looking at the pilot, just making sure everything's right names, everything else, and then they'll come in on May 2nd.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, report on debt authorization, Southeastern Massachusetts Regional 911 District, Mr.
Just as you know, the selectmen that were at the meeting in Mansfield, we did receive a copy of the notice of debt authorization. This is for the building for SEMREC, the Southeastern Massachusetts Regional, that we're doing with our dispatch. And the total project is around $10 million, and we will be reimbursed from State 911 for any expenses for this, but you only get so much a year. We're thinking maybe $2 million a year, so we have money right now, so we only really need to have authorization to borrow up to $7 million to complete the whole project, and it'll be temporary notes because it'll be paid back from the 911 grant. And the 911 grant, so everyone knows, is you pay if you look at your cell phone bill, you'll see a charge on your cell phone bill that goes directly into that program. So the money is always there. It's not something that's appropriated by the state. And we did talk to them about this procedure that we want to follow, and they agreed to it. So this will see the project move forward.
I have to read this thing?
No.
If I may, from the meeting, the 911 grants are competitive, but under this particular grant, the state has indicated that it'll be almost like grandfathered, it's pre-authorized. So we won't be in a competitive atmosphere every year to get the grant money renewed. It's already in their budget.
I believe we're one of the first to actually do a tri-town agreement on the 911 and on a communication level, so I think it's one of the first, and we're fortunate enough to be able to take advantage of that money up front.
And
Because of it.
at the meeting, they also indicated that there are already several towns who are undisclosed at the moment, who are speaking with them to try to get into the regional dispatch center also. The building itself is large enough for them to expand the 911 center to accept,
I think
more
it is,
towns.
yeah.
They can put in more units to cover other geographical areas.
Mr. I was at a different meeting, so I missed this one. So Brad, thank you for that information. The 7 million, that's our third of?
No, that's the
That's
total.
the total amount.
But
Okay.
it's kind of one of those things, almost like the school, where you have to authorize the entire thing,
Okay.
even though the state was paying back.
Gotcha, okay.
Well, the state's going to pay the whole thing, but we have to authorize them to borrow it and bond it. And then when the bonds come due, the state money should be there to pay them.
And the other two towns have to do the same
Yes.
thing?
Exactly.
So we're all,
It's three towns.
We're all equal partners, so we all have to vote to say yes.
oh, gotcha.
We voted at the meeting, Norton did vote at the meeting to approve this, and it's town of Easton, Foxborough, Mansfield, and Norton, there's 4 communities so far, with the possibility of 2 more coming in. A major savings to us, right, Mike? First year, I can't remember how much it was, but be a large savings to the town of Norton the first year, but if other communities get involved, the costs keep going down. And that could mean even bigger savings than we've had in the past, so. It's a great opportunity to work at it. Today, electronically, computers, if I call from my house, they know, they look at the computer, they know exactly where you are. It doesn't matter where they're sitting. The other bigger change is if you dial 911 on your cell phone, it's going to a local, it's not going to the state police anymore, it's going to your local dispatch. And it may save a minute or two, but, when you're over someone who needs help, a minute or two is a long time, so I think it's very important.
We're anticipated to save over $437,000 the first year.
Imagine.
Very good.
That's a lot of money. That's great.
And just so you're aware, the regional center will be operational at the end of this year, I believe, or the end of next year, but only for Mansfield and Foxborough. And then they'll expand in the following year, or it'll be ready for Easton and Norton.
July 1, 2020.
How'd they decide which towns get?
I think location, for one thing.
Oh, okay.
And that was another thing, this place, they call it High Rock, and they had, photos that from High Rock, you can see the Prudential Center, and you can see all the way down to Fall River. So that gives them, communications is much better if they don't have a bunch of garbage in between.
Right.
So that's part of the reason they decided on this location. Originally, they were looking at the old Mansfield Police Station.
And this building was designed during the Cold War. It's fortified.
Bomb shelter.
It's a bomb shelter. It's secure. No one's going to just climb into this thing. It's going to be, it's well protected. It's isolated, so that there's no neighbors to impose on, and I think it's it's a great fit all the way around. It really worked out well.
Good.
We're very fortunate to make this happen, so. And the town managers in the 4 towns were very much involved in it. Our town manager, Mike Eunice, was very much involved in making this all happen. And I did make a comment at the meeting that, to me, this is exceptional because you never see government work this fast, to make something happen this fast. And this got turned around and moved on at a very rapid pace. So I think it's great that they've been able to make this all happen as fast as they did. We just started talking about this a couple of years ago, and here we are. We're almost ready to go live. So, and not only that, it's not going to cost us any money, and we're going to save a lot of money. So, nothing wrong with that. Okay. Next on the agenda, we have review and vote on town meeting and special town meeting articles. Mr. Units?
Want to tackle some of them?
Yeah.
You have the warrant, right?
Yep.
So if we start with the annual,
Can you give us a checkoff list? I thought I saw a
I
checkoff.
think you do.
Okay, go ahead. see if I can find it. Yeah, okay.
The first article is Article 2 on the annual town meeting warrant. This is the Chapter 90 Transportation Aid Program Authorization. And the Finance Committee on April 8th voted to recommend the article. And this year, our fiscal year 2020, our Chapter 98 will be $558,978.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, the chair will authorize, request a support Article 2.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous.
The next article that I'd like you to look at is Article 4. And the Finance Committee voted on April 8th to recommend $40,000 from free cash be used for this purpose. And this would be for the demolition and removal of the Campbell House and Barn at 223 West Main. As you know, there had been hope at one time that this building could be remodeled using Mass Historic dollars. And turns out that most of that house over the years had been renovated and most of the historic items in that house had been removed. And so nothing moved forward. The house has been in bad repair, bad shape. And I know the schools are always concerned that with the barn there so close to the middle school. And so this would allow us to demolish both those buildings.
Any questions?
Yeah, where this is such an old house, do we have to get opinion from the historical commission?
I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that. We did send notice to the the Historical Commission, and they understood and had no interest.
Yeah, I know, I was down there in the wrecking crew that started ripping apart the walls, and it's amazing how much of the original structure had been ripped away for remodeling in the past, and it really didn't look historical at all. Although the heating system did.
I understand there's one main beam in the basement that if you took a hammer and tried to put a nail into it, you could never penetrate the thing. It's like petrified.
Yeah, it had some unusual features, maybe not historic.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and once this is down, we've had some discussion recently with the school committee about, probably a reuse of the property, but we'll discuss that at a later date. But first thing we have to do is get the property cleaned up and taken down. We're authorizing $40,000. It doesn't mean it's gonna cost that much money, but we're authorizing $40,000 to take it down. If we don't spend that money, then obviously, whatever's left will be turned back to the town. Is there anything in there, Mr. Eunice, that someone might find historic enough that they'd want to maybe take it down for us?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'd be surprised.
Yeah, me too.
What I had seen.
Yeah, I agree. Okay,
By
Chairman.
now, there's probably no copper in there anymore either.
Yeah, no, yeah, sure. Chair, entertain a motion to support Article 4.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous? Mr. Units?
Article 5. Article 5 would be to appropriate $5,000 out of free cash, and this would be to pay our licensed site professional, LSP, who is working with us on the Reed and Barton property to oversee anything that's done, any reports that we receive, help us with grant applications for any monies that we may need on that cleanup, and just monitor everything that's going on down there for us.
Okay, so this is regarding the Reed and Barton property on Oak Street. So
Yeah,
we want to
I
make
know.
sure we have someone there keeping an eye on the cleanup, because we don't want to find anything later on that we have to deal with. So I think $5,000 is a bargain
Yeah.
based on what could happen if we don't do this right, so. Any questions?
No.
Mrs. Steele?
So do we already know who we want to hire for that?
Yeah, we've already been using CEC.
Oh, so this is just to pay them?
We had money appropriated this year, and then this would be for next fiscal year.
And since we're paying them, like, do they provide any reports back that we could
Yeah.
have access to?
Yeah.
Maybe like a recap at one of our next meetings?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, and again, we don't want another SPRAC landfill, so we want to make sure that everything is, if the Board of Selectmen have to authorize the taking of the property at some point, we want to make sure it's clean before we do that. Chair, entertain a motion to support Article 5 for $5,000.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Article 6 is the water enterprise budget, and the Finance Committee voted to recommend water enterprise budget of $3,681,234. And the budget is personnel services, $866,820. Indirect expense, that's the money that the water and sewer department pays to the town for health insurance, life insurance, and then a portion of departments that they get services from. Other charges and expenditures, $1,203,000, and debt service, $1,262,056.
Any questions? Mr. Steele?
I have a question, because I'm sure it'll come up at town meeting. Do they list out what their other charges and expenditures are? Because their other charges are more than what, and it's not itemized, but it's more than what their personal and indirect.
So their charges and expenditures are electricity, $175,000, propane, natural gas, $20,000, repair, maintenance of equipment, $1,000, repair and replace meters, $50,000, repair, maintenance of vehicles, $15,000, repair, maintenance of buildings, $121,000, in-house water main projects, $100,000. Legal expenses, $10,000. Advertising and CCR reports, $9,000. Data processing costs, $28,000. Uniform clothing allowance, $14,000. Professional services, $50,000. Engineering, $65,000. Postage, $3,500. Telephone communications, $9,000. Telemetry and alarms, $15,000. Laboratory fees, $70,000. System materials, $75,000. Office supplies, $255,000. Excuse me, that's chemicals. Chemicals, $255,000. Office supplies, $5,000. Fuel, gas, and diesel, $35,000. Miscellaneous expense, $10,000. Seminars and conferences, $25,000. Police details, $15,000. Road repair, asphalt, sand, $20,000. And additional equipment, $7,000. So obviously their largest item there is for the chemicals.
So,
Where does like Weston and Sampson fall under that category? Is it come into like, I mean, do they go out to bid every year for engineering? Or they exclusively work for the water? How does this work for them?
They do not go out to bid. The $65,000 would be what they would be paying their engineers, Weston Sampson.
you have to wonder, at what point do we bite the bullet as a town and buy and hire an engineer to do all the work for highway, for water sewer, for planning, for whatever, you know,
That's a good start right there, Mr. Chairman, 65,000.
Yeah,
Add
you can pay
another
for half.
40, 50 to it, you'd probably get a good one.
yeah, I just think it's probably something, Mike, we should be looking into in the future. Sounds like they could use some kind of a break on their electric bill too, $175,000 a year. I understand they have pumping stations and all the other stuff they have to deal with, but that 175 with the new water treatment plant, that's gonna go even higher. So, you know, again, that's probably something we should encourage them to start looking at some form of clean energy to help
Yep.
subsidize their electric bill. Conferences, $75,000, is that what you said?
No.
Oh.
Conferences, seminars and conferences, 25,000.
25,000.
They have to, with their licenses, they have to
Okay.
attend.
I'm not trying to pick it apart, but it's one of those budgets that falls beyond Proposition 2.5 under the enterprise system, and, you know, I don't know that we scrutinize as much as we should be at times, because, you know, I just think I heard $14,000 for uniforms.
Mr. Chairman, one other comment on this.
Seems
I'm not
kinda
going to continue any after this, but is there anything under this other charge and expenses for maintenance of water lines?
Yeah, they have 100,000 under in-house water main projects.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mike, could you make a copy of that for all of us?
Sure.
Please, for the next meeting. Okay, any other questions? Chair, entertain a motion to support Article 6.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
And
Units.
Article 7 is the sewer enterprise budget, and the Finance Committee voted to recommend the budget on April 10th.
Let's break down on that.
And while I'm mentioning, I mean, these two budgets, because they're articles, but as far as all the budgets, the Finance Committee has voted to recommend all the budgets so far, and Monday night is public safety, schools, and library. So the sewer enterprise budget is $1,669.98. Personnel services, $239,635. Indirect expense, $96,450. Other charges and expenditures, $1,145,800. Excuse me, and debt service, $217,213. And obviously, their largest expense is payment to the district. So under their charges and expenditures, treatment plant costs, which payment to the MFN is $863,000, so.
Yeah.
Out of the $1,145,800, $863,000 goes to that. So they have minimal cost other than that.
Any questions? Chair, entertain a motion to support Article 7.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous? Mr. Units?
Next would be Article 10, the capital plan. And I think you have a copy of the capital plan in your packets. Let me borrow yours. I can't find mine right. So, the capital plan, I'll start with the totals. We had a lot of requests, and as we do a lot of times in the spring, the priority was, we obviously had to approve payments that we have that are due, payment 2 of 5 or 3 of 5. So that was priority. And then the next priority was things that have to get done before October. So any project like at the school that has to get done before October and can't be to 3, things like that. So the total of the plan, as recommended, is $1,670,085. And the makeup of that is $694,500 out of water surplus, $287,560 out of sewer surplus, $23,000 out of the dog fund, $132,500 out of ambulance reserve, and $532,525 out of the capital fund. And the items that the committee recommended be funded in May, work at Camp Edith Reed, $25,750. Police line cruisers, $82,000. A Zodiac at the fire department, $45,000. Jaws heavy rescue equipment, fire department, $50,000. Pumper replacement, year 2 of 5, a payment, $125,000. Burgess Station apparatus floor repairs, $75,000, and that'll be split 50-50, 50 from ambulance and 50 from capital. Animal control, he needs to do some repairs in the building, fencing, gates, windows, doors, and paving, so $23,000, and that is coming out of the dog fund. The schools, indoor athletic floors, what school was that? $38,000.
High school.
Yeah, at the high school. And they're doing an athletic facilities master plan, looking at the fields, $19,020. Right now, in the old days, the football field was a football field, and now it's a football field, a soccer field, a lacrosse field, and they can't use it right now. And they should be for lacrosse, but they can't. It's just overused and has to, rejuvenate. So they've been using Camp Finberg for
That's right, the
lacrosse.
lacrosse team's been using Camp Finberg, and it was a football field when the Kern Ridge High School opened back in '73, and then it was a track, and then and they added soccer back in '87.
Okay. So highway, Peterbilt, payment 2 of 5, $35,000. A backhoe, 4x4 backhoe, payment 5 of 5, $27,000. And a 2.5-ton six-wheeler with a plow, payment 5 of 5, $31,000. And the Holder utility tractor, payment 3 of 5, $33,000. And then the, put in by the Board of Health, Chris has been the one that has spearheaded the fuel-efficient vehicles. And this would be, we had a 3-year lease on those vehicles, and this would be to purchase all the vehicles, $79,255. That would be 3 Chevy Volts and 1 Chevy Bolt. And then the sewer department has a pickup truck, 4x4 with plow and accessories, $54,500. Generator replacement and electrical upgrades at the Cobb Street Station, $220,000. And replace the old crane on the sewer truck, $13,060. So total out of sewer, $287,560. And then the water department, water main cleaning, $200,000. VFD replacements in wells 1, 3, and 3 million-gallon tank, $40,000. For log removal pipe work per DEP regulations, $125,000. For log pipe work per MED regulations. The first one was well 3, this is well 1, $125,000. The Cottage Street tank engineering, $150,000. And then replace the 4x4 pickup with plow and accessories, $54,500. Total $694,500.
On the engineering for the Cottage Street tank, is that in anticipation of replacing the old standpipe, or?
They do have to do some work on it, and they're going to have an engineering report done to see whether it's
They
more
have to go-
cost-effective to replace or do the work.
I'll go to the same type that you've got in the center?
Yeah.
One thing we talked about, we had a candidate debate the other night, and one thing we talked about was putting dirty water through, clean water through dirty pipes. And the $200,000 a year is for that purpose, is to help keep, clean up some of these old pipes, that, so when the water treatment plant does come online, we're not pushing clean water through dirty pipes.
Are they,
So-
in that cleanup, are they trying that, the thing with
I don't
the
know if they're
crushed
doing
ice?
ice
Yeah.
pigging, I don't know if they're gonna do that or not, but I know they've looked at it.
Yeah.
I just
Getting
don't know if
commit-
they have. I think they have other techniques that they
I'm sure
use
they're-
too, but as long as the water's clean, I don't care how they do
Yeah,
it.
no, I was just wondering.
Anything else?
Nope.
Chair, entertain a motion to support Article 10.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous.
Article 11, appropriate with Mrs. Steele's question earlier for Keith. This is for tree services. They've been doing a good job the last few years in keeping up with trees on the sides of the roads that need to be taken down, and this would be $25,000 from free cash for this.
Mr. Chairman, under that, I know it's not the proper place, but while we're talking about trees, I mentioned a couple meetings ago to try to get utility companies in here and find out how they want to handle the pole side of it, like the Verizon poles people, or whatever it is. They have trees that are in between everybody else's branches, everybody else's lines.
Yeah.
And, just to try to work collaborative with both companies while they're out there, if they can, I don't know how they split the money, but it's kind of like, used to be, this belonged to National Grid, that belonged to Verizon, then when you go to an accident, they both fight at the scene of whose pole, it's not my pole, it's his pole. But, I think they should be working together, because there's so many pine trees that don't ever get clipped back, because
They clip them at the top of
they
the
clip them at the
electrical
top,
wires,
but
and then it
the
comes.
ones down below are the ones that do more of the damage sometimes, so,
We should have them both in.
yeah, it's time to start clipping.
The thing with a tree is when it falls, it doesn't care that the top's been cut off and the electrical wires are controlled. It's, the rest of the tree comes over and takes out the rest of the wires and poles, and now you have nothing.
Right.
So it doesn't make sense. We had a long conversation with Keith about Keith Silver from the Highway Department about, he needs a new truck to prune, to clean. And the one we have is ancient, we bought it used, and he's been out looking around trying to find something, and he said, I think I can get something for $75,000, but I can't find anything. So we suggested, the capital committee suggested that he go back and look at a new one, for two reasons. OSHA now has restrictions on what we can do at the town level, which we didn't have to comply with for years before that. And number two, if you're gonna buy something that's been well-used, how long is it gonna last? And in an effort to protect our employees, I suggest you go back and try to figure out a way to lease one, buy one for like 5 years, over a 5 or 10-year period. The other thing about the $25,000 he's requesting here, some of that has to do with having to hire a crane in order to take these trees down. Again, if he had that kind of vehicle, it had that kind of reach, some of the stuff he can do without having to go out and hire a company to do it for him. So we're encouraging him to come back in the fall and look at the option of replacing that old vehicle with a new one. And I personally believe that between that and, you know, the services we already offer, I think we'll be able to do a better job of keeping some of these areas clean. The one thing we have to stress on the tree work, and Keith alluded to it earlier, is the fact that when there's wires around it anywhere, we can't touch them. The trees that we can handle are the ones that are on the opposite side of the street, but when there's wires involved, we have to call the utility companies to do it. Any other questions on tree service?
I just think it's a great idea.
Chair, entertain a motion to support Article 11.
So moved.
Second.
A motion is second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
And, yeah, nothing else to vote on tonight, just to give you an update. The next two articles are from the Water and Sewer Department. We're waiting for final figures on those. And then you have a series of articles that are from the planning board, so we'll wait. They're having a public hearing on April 30th on these proposed articles, and then we'll come back.
Do you want this back for Jen, so we don't have to print them again?
Back to what?
We should give these to Jen.
Hand them back.
Because
We'll hand these
instead of
back
having
to
to
you.
do
Oh,
another
okay.
packet for the next
Yeah,
meeting.
just leave them down there. I'll
Okay,
grab them.
if you guys want to pass yours down, I'll make a pile.
Keep in mind.
All right, that's fine, but we gotta
We're not
remember,
gonna
we're
let
not
share with
printing
you.
it, we're not sharing.
I shared with you.
I know.
I want mine back.
Just the special, you have that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me find mine. Okay. Get rid of this. Really, there's only one article right now, is Article 1, prior year bills. These are invoices that came in after June 30th, and this is $10,381.92, and two bills. Actually, no, this is one bill. This is down on Newland Street, the tree antenna. It looks like a tree.
Okay.
There was a company in there before, along with us. We have our equipment on there. And they were using electricity, and they went out. And the only one using the electricity is not us, is us now, but they never switched over the electric bills to us. And
That sounds fair.
so this is for payment for electrical costs for the previous years. And this bill got sent, because it's on water and sewer property, it got sent to the Water and Sewer Department. And so they're now,
And no one else is on that pole anymore besides just us?
besides us.
Any possibility of getting somebody else to go on that pole?
Yeah, we'll try.
Yeah, I mean, why not? If we can save, if we make 10 grand a year, at least we can pay for the electricity.
Now, do they, even though they're not on it, do they still own the pole?
No, it was always our pole,
Oh, okay.
and we leased out space.
So we built that ugly tree?
Indirectly, I think, yeah.
And the Finance Committee voted on April 8th to recommend.
Any questions?
No.
Chair, entertain a motion to support Article 1 on the special town meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
Yes.
Anything else under our meetings? If not, on the old business, we have the Attorney General's decision regarding Article 5 zoning solar bylaw.
I just wanted to let you know that we did get the decision from the Attorney General April 16th, and they approved Article 5 from the January 14th, 2019 special town meeting.
was the entire Article 5. I know last night we changed some of
Right.
it, but this is the entire article that was submitted. Anyone have any questions? The folks down on Bay Road get a copy of this? You guys get copies of it? Okay. I'll make sure they have copies, in case they need it. All right. Anything else under that?
Nope.
Okay, on the town manager's report, we have an update on Reed and Barton environmental cleanup.
Yep, just if you have a chance to go down there, they're taking down the smokestack now. They had the guys up there on a crane today using sledgehammers to, they're knocking it down from the top down. They don't want it to fall on the building, so they're knocking it down into the stack. And that was a requirement. Once that's out, then the EPA can go in and take out any fuel tanks that are on the property. And
So they
just,
can't work near the stack until they take the
Right.
stack down, because they know there's tanks there, but they can't touch them because they're worried about
The integrity.
the stack coming down and taking out them and the building and everything else around it,
yeah,
so.
there's cracks in it, and they're just afraid that it'll, I thought maybe when the guy hit that first brick, the whole thing would just,
The thing is, it would have been nice to keep the stack, but the minute they looked at it, they said it was in such disrepair that it's a safety issue, so it has to come down. It would have been nice to keep it there as part of the history, but
Can we sell a brick?
yeah, I'm sure if you want some bricks, you can go down and get all the bricks you want right now. I'm sure they're hauling them away to somewhere. I just wouldn't stand underneath that sledgehammer guy for a couple of days.
Gonna be tired arms, taking down smokestack with a sledgehammer.
So, Mr. Chairman, well, Mr. Urn's is talking on Reed and Barton. Mike, could you can you tell everybody about last Friday's accident where the gentleman blew through the gate and went over the cliff?
someone driving down the street hit a whole line of mailboxes under the influence, and the mailboxes were like wedged in the windshield,
Oh, wow.
and he had a piece of a mailbox, and he went up over the bank and crashed right in there. And the fire department did a great job in getting him to Rhode Island Hospital, and as a matter of fact, at Rhode Island Hospital, they were amazed at the job they did on his neck. They thought it was one of the best jobs they've ever seen done, that
Yeah.
probably could have saved that guy's life, but they did a
You
great
would have
job.
never found the vehicle if you didn't have somebody to show you where it was, because
Yeah.
it was out of sight.
This was near the Reed button?
They were coming from Reservoir on
Yeah.
Elm, and on the right side where the row houses go back,
Yeah.
they had there's one house had all their
Oh,
mailboxes
yeah,
all
yeah,
together.
yeah.
Took all those out.
Wow. Update on streetlight conversion project.
Real Term Energy completed their survey, their inventory survey, and sent that to us this week. And then Keith and I went through it, and Keith went out to check out some things that we then responded back to them. Some of the stuff we responded back was they had all of 140, and they had all of West Main and Old Colony on there. So we had them, let them know that's state highway. And then also, they had some private roads on there. And then there were some individual lights that Keith had to check out. And so they should be all set as far as that and moving to the next phase.
Yeah, I mean, one thing obviously we have to check on is, do we need all the lights we have? I mean, some of these new LED lights will have such, they have such a, they're bright enough that, you don't need one on every single pole. And I'm thinking my own street in particular. I know we're near Wheaton College, and I know it's important to have lighting down there, but, if you drive down Pine, almost every single pole has
Well,
a light on it.
that's not the norm.
I know.
Most places,
I
you're
know.
lucky if they're every fifth pole.
But that's the second half of it. First part is get rid of the excessive ones that we don't need and put some where we do need them. you know, because there are areas in town we could use some extra lighting. Okay.
Just one other thing, Keith had come to me where we're doing the work on 123, and he's concerned about what we have for a septic system out back here, because highway, this building, fire are all tied into the same system. And he wanted to see if we could tie in a North Cottage, and I know Bob Savo talked to them over there, and they seem willing to let us do that, because Keith wants to get the tie-in across the street before they start working on 123. So we'll work on that
Yeah.
and see if we can get that.
Yeah, years ago, the town couldn't afford it, didn't want to afford it, didn't want to do it. They needed a sewer line across the street at the cottage, and at their own expense, they negotiated a deal and they put in their own sewer line, so, you know, they own it. So we're now asking to see if we can become a part of it. Right?
So they'll check on the capacity and see, hopefully, there's room, and we would have to put a pump station down by the highway, and everything would have to come down there and then get pumped.
Yeah. Okay. Which really still has to do with the fire department, even if we get a new town hall, you still have the fire department, you still have the highway, and you have the police department. So between the three, they should all be connected. Okay. I think that's a good idea to look into now before we start paving roads. Selectmen's report and mail, Mr. Salvo.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple things. I had a discussion this week with a lady that called me in regards of wanting to put together a dog park. I know it's something we talked about years ago. We never brought it forth to find a place. So I asked Mr. Units if there was a possibility or any land available around an acre that wouldn't be, you know, next to people's homes or whatever. This woman would like to spearhead it, get a committee together to raise money to fence it, and doesn't need any water other than just a 4-foot chain link fence around it. So I've had some conversation this evening with our dog officer. He has an idea possibly where we could put it. I'm gonna work with him on it and come back to the board and hopefully get this woman in here if we can get this thing going. I just want to look around other towns and see if the issues or what they've had and what we need to do to, because, you know, nothing's perfect in this world, so, but I just wanted to bring that before the board this evening.
Okay. Yeah, there should be there's a number of parcels with Norton, the town itself owns that maybe that could work on.
Would the site of the Campbell House be appropriate? If we're taking the Campbell House down, it might make sense to have somebody willing to go in there to do something.
Yeah, I know when our joint meetings with the schools, they've indicated they'd like to look at the possibility of using that property too, but it doesn't mean we can't look at that too. I don't know how big it has to be. It's gotta be a spot somewhere on town property. Anything else?
I just have one other thing. I want to just talk about my election for Tuesday for a brief minute, just to let people know. I just want to let everybody know that I'm running for re-election on Tuesday the 23rd, my 6th term for the Board of Selectmen. I have served on many various committees in the past. I'm presently serving on the Norton Housing Authority Board of Commissioners as chairman. At the Housing Authority, I've accomplished so many great things for the residents in this community, including new roofs, windows, painting, site projects, including a new water main, all new septic lines, updated roadways and drainages. As chairman of this commission, I have overseen the influx of $4.9 million for the renovations under our current leadership and $1.8 million in our previous years, with a total of $6.7 million in renovations, of which funding for this has not been added to your property taxes. We know where to reach out and to obtain funding for our capital improvement projects. In addition, to the Housing Authority is contributing financially $1.2 million to kickstart an effort of collaborating with the town to run a new sewer line that will positively impact the Housing Authority, the schools, and all small businesses along the way. This project will surely go a long way towards keeping businesses in Norton. Once this project is complete, the leaching fields at the Housing Authority can be removed, and we're working to formulate a plan to increase our housing portfolio for additional senior housing. During my tenure as a selectman, we have been involved with zoning changes that were approved at town meeting to create a new commercial complex on Leonard Street. This project will bring much-needed tax revenue to Norton. Currently, we are working on a master plan and updating our zoning map, a regional bike path, more traffic signals at Worcester Street, Route 123, and at the exit at Route 10 at Route 495. We are also updating plans for Norton Business Park and Route 140 corridor, which includes Village Center Plan. All these infrastructure changes are taking place with the technical assistance with SERPID, the Southeastern Regional Planning Economic Development. I am honored to serve the town of Norton as selectman. I would hope that my record presents here for you this evening, that throughout many years of weekly meetings I have attended, you will re-elect me as your selectman April 23rd, 2019. Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
Mr. Bramwell?
Thank you.
Mr. Steele? A couple of things. In the Scanlon report that we were given a couple of weeks ago, in the back is a consideration for adopting a reserve fund for compensated absences. Under Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 13D provides a city, town, or school district that adopts a section to establish a reserve fund for the future payment of accrued liabilities for compensated absences due to an employee or full-time officer upon termination of employment. As of June 30, 2017, the town's liability for compensated absences, parentheses, sick time, vacation time, etc., is approximately $2,205,000. We recommend that the town review Chapter 40, Section 13D, and consider accepting the provisions of the new law. Could you get some information on that for the next meeting? Sure. It's a lot of money, and I think we need to understand what that's about, and maybe we should be adopting. Our financial people are suggesting we do it. We probably should look into it and find out what that's all about. Also, Mike, if you could look into, I know we've been getting some noise on social media regarding responses and a lot of emails. I'm not on Facebook. Not planning on being on Facebook in the very near future, but, we have an obligation under our open meeting laws where we can and cannot respond to certain questions or certain things on social media locations, but I'm curious about how other towns handle that and how it's done. And I think we should adopt a policy that we all understand. If nothing else, it should be, maybe the responsibility should be directed to one person only, so that we're not breaking any laws or getting involved in something that we shouldn't be getting involved in. But I know people want answers, and I think it's important that we give them the answers, but I want to make sure that we do it legally. And I don't want to get any of us in trouble for it. So, and I'm sure other towns have policies and procedures in place. So if you could get us some information on that, Mike, for our next meeting, we can take a look at it and discuss it. And finally, I too am up for re-election, and I think it's been a pleasure to serve the community the past 3 years. I think we've got a lot done. We've done, raising our commercial tax base has been one of the #1 priorities. And I think overall, we have, as a board, have been very good at getting things moving along. I know sometimes people don't always like the results or the answers of what we try to do, but we're doing everything to the best of our ability and the best we can. So I've enjoyed the last 3 years. I'd like to do 3 more. And again, I'd ask for your consideration on Tuesday, the 23rd. And I would look forward to doing this again for 3 more years. So, okay.
Can I just mention one other thing? I forgot to bring this up, and I keep telling Jen to leave this here so I can. Jen did a great job. This is a manual on all licenses, so if Jen's not here and someone comes in to pull a license, anyone can go in the office, open the manual and know what to do for every particular license, so
great.
I thank her for that.
That's long overdue. Good. Good. Anything else on the selectmen report and mail? On the warrants and minutes, Chair would entertain a motion to approve payroll warrant PR 19-21 for the week ending April 6, 2019, warrant dated April 11, 2019, in the amount of $1,307,071.70.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Chair entertain a motion to approve invoice warrant AP 19-41 dated April 11, 2019, in the amount of $447,340.38.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. And Chair entertain a motion to approve invoice warrant AP 19-42 dated April 18th, 2019, in the amount of $858,535.40.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, others in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. So our next meeting agenda is for May 2nd, 2019. We don't have anything yet on, as far as an exec session, but if anyone has anything they'd like to add to that agenda, feel free to do so. And again, we want to remind everybody that next Tuesday is Election Day, and we would encourage you all to take the time to vote. There's some important issues, not only the selectmen's race, but there's a question of a charter change, charter committee, charter commission, elected charter commission. There are 11 people running for the position. There are 9 seats available. So we encourage you to get out to vote for that. And it's supposed to be a decent day, a warm day, so wear your sunscreen, and I'll see you all out there at the
Yep,
at the Yale.
that's right, I'll be there.
You will, Peter, great.
Yep, and gonna cover the election on the Peter channel.
Okay, very good. Is it gonna be live? Live updates?
Gonna be live updates right today because because the Norton High School doesn't allow Facebook.
Oh,
to-
okay. Thank you, Peter. Okay, anything else come before the board? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you. Thanks, Sean.